This presentation talks about a phase in every woman's life that often goes unrecognised and under-discussed. The perimenopause. The perimenopause is a transition that's not just about hot flushes and mood swings along with the stopping of periods. It's more about a journey that encompasses various physiological and psychological changes that occur over a 15 to 30 year period, typically starting in the late 30s, early 40s, and lasting into the late 50s, early 60s. The changes women experience are typically hot flushes and night sweats, but can also include mood swings, anxiety, brain fog, weight gain, loss of libido, incontinence. The list goes on and is by no means exhaustive. These changes have led to many women believing that they may have just lost it, as their sense of control falters and they fear and anticipate a steady decline into old age and infirmity. Relationships fall apart in many ways, with some previously successful women leaving their jobs and thinking they have no option but to retire from life. Life events often coincide with children leaving home, resulting in an empty nest and a loss of sense of purpose. Historically, the standard medical response has been to look towards antidepressants, with limited benefits, if at all. Clearly, understanding how to minimise the negative impact of all these changes is crucial for maintaining health and well-being, not just for the perimenopausal woman, but also for those around her. To get an idea of how evolution has not yet caught up with itself, let us start by considering the remarkable extension of the human lifespan. Just about 500 years ago, reaching your late 40s was considered a significant feat, with women surviving long enough to pass on their genes and ensure that these genes, piggybacking on the lives of their kids, can then pass on their genes to the next generation, and so on. However, with modern advancements in healthcare and lifestyle, many of us now realise the potential to live another 40 years or so after our ovaries stop functioning. This means 40 years without the essential hormones that the ovaries produce. This has a hefty impact on health, which I shall come back to, but I wanted to highlight why extending the human lifespan has consequences. Wouldn't it be good if extending this lifespan could go hand in hand with extending the health span? That is the time in which we can enjoy good health. And so by understanding and navigating the perimenopausal phase effectively, we aim to do just that. Another factor, historically, medicine has been heavily biased towards men. Research and medical understanding were predominantly based on male physiology. It's only relatively recently we've come to appreciate the distinct differences between men and women in terms of health. For example, it has fairly recently been established that women having heart attacks may present in an entirely different manner to men, thus meaning they may be undiagnosed and thus be untreated with potentially dire consequences. This shift in understanding differences between men and women wasn't just because of a lack of female representation in medicine a year ago, but also because studying women's health with its complex hormonal fluctuations throughout life was deemed to be just too challenging, and so wasn't done. Progress is slowly being made. So, back to the perimenopause. One significant aspect of the perimenopause is the accelerated aging process. We have hormone receptors throughout our body. When we have a deficiency in these hormones, this has effects on the whole body switching various processes on and off, and thus accelerating the rate of aging. Within the first 6 months of the menopause, studies show that women age by around 9 years. This acceleration is primarily due to hormone deficiency and the consequences of cellular aging. I shall come back to cellular aging, but first of all would like to discuss hormone deficiency and why this matters. During the menopause, the ovaries gradually stop working, and this means dramatic reductions in levels of estrogen, testosterone, and progesterone, collectively known as the sex hormones. When considering the sex hormones, estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone, it's important to realise that these hormones do more than just make you fertile, sexy, and able to have children. These hormones have a much broader impact on health. These hormones influence heart health, mental health, bone health, and even lower the risk of dementia. Estrogen is an important regulator of the immune system, and when this becomes chronically overactive, we see inflammation and a decrease in collagen and elastin, leading to skin aging. So now let's talk about bioidentical or body identical hormones. These would be my go-to because they play a crucial role in replacing lost hormones and so impacting aging and well-being. The important difference between HRT, conventional HRT that is, and bioidentical body identical hormones is that bioidentical hormones are identical in structure and composition to those that we naturally produce. These, being what we naturally produce, have the same benefits, but less of the risks commonly associated with conventional HRT. Conventional HRT has side effects which arise from not being identical to the hormones that we naturally produce. Many women have fears about the safety of these hormones. They fear breast cancer as a risk and therefore would not consider HRT, but this has been hugely overplayed. Bioidentical hormones are not associated with an increased risk of breast cancer, and it may surprise you to hear that the biggest risk factor by far is being overweight. The art of balancing hormones using bioidentical hormones during the perimenopause and beyond is not about restoring fertility and all the other headline features of the sex hormones. It's about optimizing and maintaining health in the later years of life. Now, you may recall I made reference earlier to cellular aging. Every cell in our body is filled with little powerhouses called mitochondria. These convert food into energy, and this requires a little coenzyme called NAD. That stands for nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide, but I'll call it NAD. NAD levels drop by 50% every 20 years from birth. This drop is influenced by lifestyle too, but I shall come back to that. So, the mitochondria, these are covered in estrogen receptors, and when estrogen levels fall, as happens during the menopause, the mitochondria become much less active and thus energy production falls. This leads to symptoms which can include brain fog, fatigue, and tiredness. However, all is not lost. Supplementing with NAD has shown promise in slowing down the aging process. Briefly, NAD works by supporting various cellular functions, including DNA repair and energy production. It reduces inflammation and reverses biological aging. So you can see hormone deficiency and reduced NAD levels create the perfect storm for us to age significantly during the menopause. Remember, I said 9 years in 6 months. But both these deficiencies can be reversed with appropriate treatment. Of course, hormone replacement and NAD supplementation are just parts of the puzzle. I mentioned the importance of lifestyle. Lifestyle factors play a significant role in navigating the perimenopause effectively. Paying attention to factors such as sleep, gut health, diet, exercise, stress management, and social connections, along with minimizing harmful substances such as smoking and consuming excess alcohol, are all crucial for health and well-being. We provide a comprehensive lifestyle medicine program called Temple Vitality, which involves a deep dive into all of this. And of course, let's not forget the role of skincare and aesthetics. These can address the external signs of aging using clinically effective skincare products which help to protect and repair aging skin, along with aesthetic treatments to stimulate collagen production, improve hydration, and reduce pigmentation, will all reduce those outward signs of aging. And that's even without mentioning injectable treatments like Botox and dermal fillers. But remember, never forget your SPF. So in conclusion, navigating the perimenopause successfully requires a holistic approach. It's not just about managing symptoms, it's about understanding the broader physiological changes and addressing them comprehensively. By integrating medical interventions such as hormone balancing and NAD supplementation, lifestyle adjustments, and better skincare practices, we can ride the perimenopause with grace whilst maintaining optimal health and well-being. Thank you for listening.